To make our bow, we're going to be using the Easy Bow Maker. I'm going to start with a 4-inch white velvet ribbon. I'm going to put it onto the spool, and for the 4-inch ribbon, I always like to fold in the edges. You can add a little bit of glue if you need to. When you have designer ribbon, the higher end, and it's a 4-inch, you don't really have to glue it, it stays. But this one, it's pretty thick, but I'll see how it holds up. I usually just glue a little bit down. And this one I'm gonna make a tail going up. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna do a 10-inch tail. And when I put it in the bow maker, I'm going to put it down between the prongs. And then when I get to the bottom, this side that's still attached to the spool, I'm going to twist it. So that way you have the wrong side ribbon right here, and then the right side ribbons right here. And I'm going to push that one up to the top. And I'm going to do a 5.5-inch loop, one on each side. So measure out to 5.5 and put your hand into the ribbon and pinch. Put it into between the prongs and then twist it. And now you have this side ready to go. Again, put your hand in the middle, pinch it. And then for this one, I'm not going to twist it because that's the end of it. I'm just going to pull out the actually, I'm going to leave it here because I'm going to do a cross. So I'm going to leave it there. The next ribbon is a 2.5-inch pink snowflake ribbon. For this one, I'm going to dovetail it. I'm going to use my scissors to cut the dovetail. And for this one, I'm going to measure out the same tail length. Actually, I'm going to do like an inch smaller. And then put it in between the prongs, twist it. I'm going to bring that tail up as well. And for this loop size, I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go down to 5 inches. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I really like using this bow maker. I cannot make a bow by hand for the life of me. So I really like using this, and I have hand problems. My fingers lock up a lot. I don't know if you can see that. I know it's probably gross, but I can't hold the bow. And especially like when I make big bows, there's no way my hands would be able to do it. So if you need help making bows, I highly, highly recommend this bow maker. I have it linked down in the comments, but it definitely helped me to make bows. So for this one, I'm also going to leave it on the spool. The next ribbon is this 1.5-inch, I want to say it's tinsel, but it's so fun. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a tinsel edge to it. So again, I'm going to use my scissors, my super sharp scissors, to cut that down. And also with this one, the tail is going to go up, so I'm going to put it in the bow maker. And I'm going to do about the same size, a little bit smaller than the pink one. And for this one, we're going to do a 4.5-inch loop. My name is Courtney. I'm owner and designer of Wreath in Hand. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know where y'all are watching from. If you're a wreath maker, what are you working on right now? I'm going to be finishing up on winter wreaths and starting Valentine's wreaths. So for this one, I'm not going to leave it on the tail, like on the roll. I'm going to go ahead and cut about an 8-inch tail. And then I'm going to go ahead and dovetail this one as well. The last ribbon for the bow is this beautiful pink Dupioni ribbon. It's a 7/8 inch ribbon. For this one, ooh, the wire came out. For this one, I'm just gonna angle I'm gonna angle it, and then I'm gonna place it into the bow maker. I'm gonna make the tail a tiny bit shorter. You can make it an inch or half an inch, whatever you like. And for this one, I'm gonna do a 4-inch loop. And for this one, we're actually gonna do a center loop for it. So this time you gotta twist it on both sides. And for the center loop, I usually just do, I have smaller hands, so it works for me, but I usually do 2 fingers. So it's about an inch, but I don't, you know, depending on how big your hands are, but that's usually what I do. And then I'll bring the tail around, and we're gonna cut this one at 8 inches. And I'm gonna angle this cut as well. To get it off the bow maker, I'm gonna push down on it to flatten it as much as possible. And then I'm gonna slip my hand between the prongs so I got both sides of the ribbon. And I'm going to use both hands. So I got my hand under here holding it and my hand over here, and I'm pushing down. Make sure you're not moving anything. And I'm gonna lift it up off the prongs. And then I'm gonna use, oops, that's the wrong one. I'm gonna use a zip tie. Hopefully this one's long enough. I'm gonna go between my fingers in the back. Now that I got the zip tie on, before I tighten it down all the way, I'm gonna take my chenille stem and go underneath the zip tie and make sure they're even. And then the tighter you pull your zip tie, the more your bow will pucker up. So you don't want it to be over puckered, you just want to give it a little lift, and then enough for where it's not going to be shifting around. And then using some wire cutters, I'm going to go ahead and snip off what the bow's looking like. I still have the white 4-inch and the pink 2.5 still attached. So I want the bow to go, where's my, hold on. I want the bow to go this way, and then the tails that we didn't cut, they're gonna come across the jewels, and then we can have the tail sticking out this way, and then down here we can add another tail to balance it out. So I'm just gonna use the chenille stem that we added to go between the spine of the base to attach it. And try not to go too tight, or again you'll sink your bow.